Hi, my name is Rebecca and I am here to show you how to use Picasa. Picasa is basically a photo editing program from Google and it's absolutely free, which is why I love it. It's also very simple to use. The first time you open it, all of your photos have to load in here, so it's going to take a little while. It's going to scan your computer for all of these things. But once it's done, all your photos show up in this panel here, and as you can see, I have way too many photos. Today we're going to learn how to do this specifically in terms of your Etsy products. So I'm going to walk you through some of the basics on how to edit a photo. What we're going to look at today is this photo here, and I'm just going to show you some of the features that are available in Picasa using this photo as an example. So as you can see, this is a nice little photo of a bracelet, and the focus is great here, but it's really dark and not really true to color. These beads are a bit brighter in reality. So what I like to do is open up my photos here in Picasa and make some tweaks. So I'll show you the most popular ones, the ones that you're probably going to be using most. I'm not going to cover every feature, just the basic ones. So your tools in Picasa are all located in this panel, and there are 5 different tabs with different features in them. This first one is the most basic one, and the features you'll probably use most are crop, straighten, and then these 3 correction tools down here. Crop is pretty self-explanatory. You can either choose one of their preferred ways of viewing this, or just do your own crop, like so. So it lets you get a little bit closer to your product. It lets you frame it the way you want to frame it. Next thing, straighten. If this was crooked and I wanted to turn it around a little bit, that's what straighten does. I'm feeling lucky is pretty much letting the program choose the colors for you. I don't really like it sometimes because it gets too bright in some spots and it keeps it too dark in others. But that's available to you. Auto contrast just changes the lights and the darks. Auto color just changes the colors. Now, say you don't like any of these options, you can go to this next tab over. It lets you automatically adjust the color and the shadows. Feel light is the light for the whole picture. Everything gets brighter. Highlights is just the whites. Makes the brights brighter. And shadows makes the darks darker. Pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty much all you'll use in this tab here. There are other features, but again, I'm only going to cover the basics. These other tabs add filters, very much like what an iPhone or something like that would do. A couple of them that might be handy are sharpen if you have a really blurry image. Sometimes this helps. Try not to overdo it because it can get a little bit grainy, but if you like to have your photos look a bit more crisp, you can apply that. Saturation is sometimes helpful. In this one, I like to be very careful. I like to look at my product in the meantime and say, is this really the color of blue that these beads are? Because your customers are relying on your photos for realistic representations of your work. So this I don't like very much. It's making my golds too yellow, my blues too blue, when they're more of a navy color. So I'm not going to use it this time. I like the way the lighting worked on it. So if you do use saturation, use it with caution. Glow, usually I don't use for my photos, but it does make some of your pictures brighter. So that's an option for you guys if you need it. That's pretty much all you'll use on this tab. Again, there are other ones that would be great for your photos if you're doing this for personal use, but for your Etsy shop, mostly these. One that you might use for your Etsy shop on this panel is HDR-ish. As you can see, it made it very crisp, very bright, and sometimes it's a bit too much. So you want to be careful with this one as well. You can fade it, though, so it blends in with your normal photo. Like here's my normal beforehand, and then you can see if you apply this, it makes it a bit more crisp, a bit more sharp in this area here. The rest of these, again, they're more fancy filters, so I'm not going to go over these today. But I will come over to this next tab because there are a few in here that you guys might use. One that I use a lot is Boost, but again, be very careful with this because it tends to go overboard. You want to tone it way down and add this in gradually and see if that helps enhance your photo and make it more true to color. Again, I just can't emphasize enough, be very careful with some of these. They have very strong effects, and you want to make sure that your products look realistic. Okay. One last one I'll show you. Again, I wouldn't usually do this for a bracelet, but I would do this for, say, my fine art or something like that. Picasa has a drop shadow effect and a museum matte effect, and those two effects make your photo look more three-dimensional. Like if you're trying to get somebody to imagine what this would look like on their wall or something. And here's what it does basically. It just adds a drop shadow around the outside edge of it. Or this one adds like a frame around the side of it. So it's a quick and easy way to create that effect. Picasa does also allow you to do collages and add text to your images. I'm not going to go over that today because I'm just covering the basic effects. But the last thing I will show you before go ahead and closing out of this is that there's a different way to save photos in Picasa. Picasa does not save your original photo. Your original photo stays on your computer. This creates a copy of your photo. So if you ever want to go back to that original and make changes, you still can. So if I want to save this, I go to Export, and then I can select a folder. I can choose, do I want the original folder or do I want to resize it to a certain size? I usually do about 1024, especially with my fine art. I try to go a little bit lower so my high quality images aren't out there to be stolen by somebody. Otherwise, another handy feature, again, if you're doing fine art, is adding a watermark. You can do that here automatically through Picasa and change your text if you want to. So after you've got all of these settings the way you want them, you just click Export, and Picasa automatically saves them to your computer. You can go in here, here's my jewelry, here's my bracelet. That's my edited photo. So that's it. That's pretty much the basics of how to use Picasa. If you have any questions, you can leave a message in the comments. Thanks.